which I would assume he would do. And then there's a few months that still it's actually in operation, technically, as I understand it. So we have to put forth a lot of effort and get nations to say we refuse to be a part of it. Now it's not a case of opt-in. You have to opt out if you're not going to do it.
And you have to give notice to opt out. They haven't followed their own requirements for notice, but they will enforce a requirement to opt out, that you have to give a certain amount of notice. We talked to Reggie Littlejohn about this and Frank Gaffney beforehand, but it's great to get the report of what actually happened because it was very confusing. Was it a win? Was it a loss? It was something in between.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Okay, so let's switch topics.
By the way, there were great rallies. There were rallies outdoors, and there were marches in the street against it in opposition. So there's a rise
in Geneva?
Oh, yeah, we were part of that.
Oh, excellent.
There was a 3-hour rally outdoors with about 100 speakers, about a minute each. They were very, very short. And then we marched through the streets, thousands strong, from many, many different countries, saying we don't want any part of this. So people are waking up and realize how crisis this moment is.
Yeah, in fact, in Europe, we're seeing more than just a few of those. It's the farmers banding together and others, just a big pushback on the whole world overarching government, one world government.
The Canadian truckers pushback and the European farmers, I'm convinced those are moves of God to come against this rabid totalitarianism that's crushing the human spirit.
Well, I appreciate the report on that. We've got some other issues, though, around the world, because it's not just the United Nations. We've got a war in Ukraine, but we also have the issue of Israel. And I know that's near and dear to your and your wife Rosemary's heart is Israel. Tell us quickly, we've got a break in a couple of minutes, but tell us what you've learned from Israel and what things we ought to be praying about and doing here in America.
My wife's been to Israel 76 times. She's really the expert, and I've been there 25 times. We just got back from there. We had 21 days there, I think, this last trip. I'll tell you two things. One is the country is in trauma, and number two, the country is resilient. They're pressing forward. I'm an extrovert, so as we went everywhere, I started conversations with everybody I could, hundreds of people, just to strike up a conversation so I could work this phrase in by the third sentence, and that is, we are standing with you. Millions of us are standing with you. And almost every person said, we feel so alone. While we were there, Spain recognized Palestine. While we were there, Ireland recognized Palestine. Norway, the ICC in The Hague came out against Israel. The ICJ in The Hague came out against all in the short span of time we were in Israel. All these attacks constantly upon this one nation. And before we went on the air, United Nations just came out with another condemnation of Israel again. Call them a nation that kills babies. I mean, that's how ludicrous it is. So people would oftentimes start crying and say, we feel so alone. But positively, they are resilient. By the way, you should go to Israel. Everybody should go to Israel. It's completely safe. We were there 21 days. We never felt at all any insecurity, any threatened in any way in terms of safety. That people had to go and support. Everybody said, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. They're going forward. And God's going to protect this nation. But it's been through a tremendous amount of trauma and pain.